Well, this week we are going to make a witch for the dolls to use in their Halloween decorations. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this is to make. Alright, to make our witch, and she is kind of big. If you could find slightly smaller plant pots, that would be great, but I had a little trouble finding them and I was kind of in a hurry yesterday. So we need 4 plant pots that are terracotta, or if you can find plastic ones that you're happy with, go ahead and use a plastic pot, then it's not breakable. This first one is a 4 1/4 inch terracotta pot. This one cost me 78 cents at Home Depot. Then we need 3 small ones, and they need to fit like this so that there's a pretty smooth join here at the top. These were 59 cents at Michael's. And then we also need something for our witch's nose, and I'm using one of these little 5/8 inch wooden plant pots. So let's glue the nose on first, and then by the time I get around to painting that part, it will be, the glue should be set up enough I can paint around it. So we are going to use some cotton inside of this to help it glue. Can I get the lid off of this? Hold on. That will be much better because I want more glue than when I'm getting out of there. Whoops, sorry if that noise is annoying you. Now, if you want to glue things that maybe you won't want to glue, soak some cotton with some glue. And what you're doing is you're actually gluing the cotton to both surfaces. Lots of glue on there. You want that cotton to really soak up that glue. And now I'm going to wipe off as much of that as I can so that it will, I can cover it up with paint. And now this glue will need to dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to start painting these other pots. Let's set that upside down. Hopefully her nose won't run. So we're going to use some black craft paint, and we are going to paint the outsides of these pots with black craft paint. 3 of them will be painted all black, and I'm going to do most of that off camera. I'll start it on camera. I find it's easiest, just put the paint up there and bring it down the side. It is easier if you get this wide band done first. And always work on a surface that you don't care if you get paint on. Like I always almost always work on these ceramic tiles because I can just scrape the paint off of the ceramic tile. If you're using a plastic pot, make sure that, I'm getting black paint all over myself, make sure that your paint is compatible with plastic. And if you decide to do this with bigger size pots, you can do this with any size pots. You could do one of these with bigger pots and put it outside your own front door. Then use a paint that's okay to put outside, like an exterior paint. Quite frankly, after I take pictures with the dolls with this, I will probably put this on my table in my entryway. But in the meantime, it's going to be a doll craft. Then it will become a home decorating craft. So I'm going to paint these other 2. I'm going to let this glue dry, and when that glue is dry enough to paint around, probably by the time I get these 2 pots painted, I'll be able to work around that. Then I'll come back and show you what we're going to do with that one. Alright, now I think this one is dry enough that I can work on the sides that are not, that the nose is not on. So we're going to very carefully paint this band that goes around the pot. We're going to come back and paint the face a different color here in a little bit. Now, I'm going to kind of cut this in half. It doesn't have to be perfect. The front half, and I'll have to fix that little splotch I made, will be painted our skin color, which for our witch is going to be green. The back half and the band will be her hat and her hair, so part of her hat. Alright, so I'm going to let this paint dry. Oh, and by the way, on these little pots, make sure at least one of these has a really good coat of paint, including this hole on this, what is traditionally the bottom of the pot, because one of these will be the body and part of the body, and one will be the hat, and that one, the hat one, the top is going to show, or this end will show. So I'm going to let my paint all dry. If it looks like I need a second coat, I'll go ahead and second coat this off camera, and when we're ready to paint the face, I'll come back. Alright, so my glue is not completely dry, but I think it's dry enough that we can paint up against it and over it. So I have some green. This is sage green. Whatever color you want your witch's face to be. I like to do them in green. I don't know. Oh, this is that bottle of paint with that. There we go. This is an older bottle of paint, and it gets kind of stringy right now. We are going to be kind of careful. We're going to try and even up our lines. And the green is definitely going to need 2 coats. Partially because it's a cheaper paint, and partially because it's a lighter color. If you have a nice flat-ended brush with fairly stiff bristles, you'll probably have better luck getting that top straight. And then we'll cover that nose. So I'm going to let this coat of paint dry, and then I'll paint at least one more coat. It may take 3 coats to cover on this one, because I've noticed that this paint has a lot more water content to it, so it doesn't cover as nicely. So when I get the face all painted and the paint is dry, I'll come back and we'll go on to the next step. Alright, so our face paint is dry, and I'm going to put a mouth and some eyes on her witch. I just got just a red. This happens to be my tomato spice ceramic coat. I use that for just about everything. You can give her a frown, you can make her smile, you can do whatever you want. You could leave the mouth off. And I was initially planning, I'll probably work on this mouth more off camera. I can get it over where I can see it better. Initially, I was planning to just put black dots for the eyes, but then I realized in my drawer of my table I have some googly eyes. So that's, I mean, they're here. I might as well use them. Should be cuter. So let's put a dab of glue. Try not to stick my finger in the line I just made for her mouth. And a dab of glue over here. Oh, come on. There. And let's see. This one is my one that's going to be on the top, so I am going to actually start gluing this part together too. So we're going to glue this on here. And if you get, well, you've got two choices. You can either spray the whole finished project with a clear finish to make it look more finished, or I think my black paint is still a little wet, so that means unfortunately I'm getting black paint in my glue. So let's put my glue out on there. This glue says that it will adhere most porous and semi-porous materials. I've never used it for clay pots before, but I think it should work. Now very carefully put this down. And I think we can probably get this part done too, because all that's really wet is the lips and the googly eyes. Everything else is dry. Okay, let's get a little more glue out. So we have an upside down pot, an upside down pot, a right side up pot, and we'll finish with another upside down pot. Let's get this put on. Make sure that everything is lined up. Oops. Make sure everything is straight. And now that glue needs to dry, and after it's dry we can touch up the paint where we've got where we'll have some shiny from the glue. Alright, so our paint has dried actually for a couple of days because I got busy. So I'm going to show you how to deal with those spots where we got glue that seeped out, because our paint is matte and our glue is shiny. And I didn't get a really good coat on this, but that's okay. I like it. It's kind of rustic. So I'm just going to take a Q-tip and put over it. If you've got a spot that needs coating again, and just go around all your seams. And when this dries, it should cover up the glue. You might need 2 coats in some places, but that's all there is to it. And when this is done, when this is dry, I will I'll move us out to an easier place to see her, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so I've got the witch all finished, and I thought I'd set her up in a scene so you can see how she looks. I think she turned out really cute. I did get mine a little crooked. That's what happens when you try to do this and run a camera at the same time. So be careful when you stack your pots that you get them straight. But I think she's awfully cute with the dolls. If you have a doll house or a doll, scene set up with the front porch, this would be adorable. Or she could go inside the dollhouse too. So I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Check the blog post. I'll try to have some better photos over there. Check the Facebook group to stay up to date with what's going on my channel and with my blog, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.